guys, and welcome back to On the Mic FC. Today, we're joined by a very special guest. Tommy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. 5 points in 3 games. USMNT in the mud.
Absolutely in the mud.
But before we get into that, I just wanted to say thank you, Hayden Phillips, our sponsor today, and we'll come back to your question later in the episode. But anyways, Cole, let's get into it.
Oh, we're happy to have you here, Tommy. You're a club legend. Thanks again, Hayden. Today, we're going to be talking about the U.S. men's national team. We're going to be going through the camp that just happened. We're going to be going through how we feel about Berhalter. We're going to be going through what we're looking for going ahead with the United States men's national team. I think a good place to start is just a review of the camp. We saw, in my opinion, a United States team that was lackluster, that was overconfident, and we saw a team that does not look like they're fit to go to a World Cup, in my opinion.
I mean, I didn't catch as much of it as the two of you did, but I did watch the last game, and I thought that they looked good after Gregg's substitutions against Honduras. But I mean, I caught the highlights of the first 2 games, and they definitely looked, like you said, overconfident, a bit overzealous. I mean, just like they thought that they could walk in and just play not as well as they could and then just expect to win. I mean, CONCACAF is not the hardest division in the world by any means, but it's not full of slouches either. The teams are tough. You have to show up to play, especially when you're playing on cow patches.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
CONCACAF is completely different from any other federation, any other international competition. It's not harder necessarily. They're better. The players aren't better. It's just different. Serginho Dest has never had to play on a cow patch, right?
Absolutely.
He's never had to play on a soaking wet pitch, right?
We talk about it all the time. We talk about CONCACAF as a meme. Like, it absolutely is. I mean, it's cool now that we have players who are coming back from Europe playing CONCACAF, and I think that is like the meme aside, that is low-key the reason they don't perform the same way they perform in Europe. Serginho Dest is a starter in Barcelona. He comes back with us. I mean, what's out there? Like, it doesn't look like he has anything to offer, at least not in these first 2 games that he played. But I think it's like something to be said, like the CONCACAF nature of our division. Like, it's big.
Do you think it's down to tactics, or do you think it's down to the players buying into the system, or what do you guys think?
Like, from the U.S. perspective?
Right. Well, I mean, also, it's not a disaster right now. We're second right now.
We're tied for second.
We're tied for second. So, I mean, it's not like there are fires to be put out everywhere, but it's definitely worrying when you drop points to El Salvador.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
With the quality of the team we have, 5 points is a disaster.
We're the most talented team
by far. By far.
We like the pool of talent that we have to pull from is the biggest it's ever been in the history of the United States.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most talent we've ever had, and if you don't see that, you're not watching.
The only team that even comes close to measuring up with us talent-wise is Mexico, and their average age is like, what, 30?
Yeah.
29? And all of our guys, they've never played World Cup qualifiers before because they're all 21, 22.
There is something to be said for the lack of experience, but we used that in 2017. We used part of that excuse. We used it for the Nations League before we won. Like, we've used this excuse before for the lack of experience, and I think now it's time to stop using that excuse and start winning games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would agree with that. So I want to get you guys' take on this. So starting back in the summer, obviously coming off of two trophies, the U.S. men's national team, how are you guys feeling? We looked then versus now. What do you think the discrepancy is? What do you see as the problem?
Okay, I'll take this one. I think that in the first 2 games of this camp, the players let Berhalter down. I think tactically, we were playing the same type of football that we were in the Nations League. Like, he was lining up the same, besides the Honduras game. He was lining up in a similar way. We were playing the same type of football, like out of the back as well, and the players just looked like they didn't want to be there. So I guess, like, to answer that question, I think we looked good, but
A lack of energy, maybe?
a huge lack of energy.
I personally think we played, during the first 2 games and during the Nations League and Gold Cup, I think we played the exact same. We just got lucky in those tournaments, and we didn't get lucky this time.
I would agree. I think we definitely got lucky in the Nations League.
Yeah, oh for
We
sure.
got lucky in the Nations League. In the Gold Cup, like we had, I mean, people say we had our B team in there. We just had like, I guess that would be a good way.
It's
to
our
talk about it.
it's our B team, but everyone else also had their B team, and our B team is much better than everyone else's B team.
Exactly, I would agree. Like we should be beating Qatar. Like
Easily.
we should be beating them.
Yeah.
That's just like we're the United States. We should be beating Qatar. Even if that was their A-ish team, we should be beating them.
Right.
We should be beating them with our B team, with our C team.
Right.
So that's kind of where I think we're at with that.
So, how are you guys feeling about Berhalter right now?
Well, Cole and I have talked about this. I know in my heart Gregg Berhalter is not the person to lead the U.S. to success. He has shown that he refuses to learn, he refuses to get better, and his tactics, when an entire fan base calls you out for doing something wrong, then it's probably you that's the problem, and not everybody else.
I agree partially. I know we have discussed this. I think that Berhalter, like I said earlier, I think in the first 2 games of this camp, Berhalter was let down, like dramatically let down by the players. They played with a complete lack of energy. Like a couple of people made careless mistakes. Like John Brooks. John Brooks is supposed to be our best center back, and he looks like that coming from a team that's in Champions League football in Wolfsburg.
They're top of the league right now in the Bundesliga, I think, right now.
Yeah. Like John Brooks should be bringing an energy and a prowess to this team. He should be bringing experience. Like he's 25 years old, but it's John Brooks. Like that dude's been 25 for his whole life. You know what I mean? Like the guy should be bringing a prowess and energy and an excellence to that back line. And I don't know if he starts now. Like there are examples of that in the team and a complete lack of energy where I think that Berhalter wasn't the issue this camp. And I will say, for the Honduras game, what was he doing?
What was he doing?
What was he doing?
What was he doing? And you notice, when the game turns around at halftime, it's when he brings in subs. It's when he changes his tactics. Why did it take him 45 minutes to realize something was going wrong?
You and I sat there for the first 45 minutes and said exactly what he needed to do to start that game.
Yeah.
And it's like we started the game at halftime.
When he needs to try something new, he refuses to do it. And when he doesn't need to try anything new, he tries doing this pep masterclass.
That's exactly
and
it.
And
he tries to pep.
he tries too hard. It's international football. You keep it simple. Did you watch the video of Mancini's team talk before the final of the Euro? He just says, he goes through the starting lineup, same formation we've played the entire tournament, same people we've played the entire tournament. You know what you are. Go get a win. Go make your country proud. And that's all he needs to say.
They're playing England.
Berhalter should know who his best players are, but he plays Serginho Dest on the left. How many times do we need to see Serginho Dest suck on the left before we know he's not it? Anthony Robinson comes in for 45 minutes and we whoop Honduras. We've never won at Honduras.
Yeah. That was our most difficult game.
Yeah.
That was our most difficult game, and you hit the nail right on the head. He tried to pull a pep masterclass. He was trying to play De Bruyne at striker. Like we knew what we needed to do.
Yeah.
We didn't have all of our best players. Tim Weah was out. I would argue Pulisic wasn't healthy. Like McKenzie was no Reyna. Like we did not have our starting 11, but he knew the players he had. He knew what he needed to do, and he did that in the second half. So I will say, credit to Berhalter for fixing the mistake, because if he hadn't fixed that mistake and if he would have stuck to his guns, which some managers have done, if he would have stuck to his guns,
We would have lost.
we would have lost that game. It would have been 1-0, maybe 2-0.
We would have lost, and I think he would have kept his job. I don't think they're going to get rid of him.
I don't think it is the right decision to get rid of him. I said it on TikTok the other day, and it caught a little bit of heat, I think, but it was like, I don't think that the United States has a better option right now than Gregg Berhalter. I don't think we do.
I think they could poach any MLS coach, and it would be better than Berhalter.
You think so?
Almost any MLS coach. Caleb Porter from Columbus. I forget the guy that coaches Seattle, but Seattle's been good for 10 years, 12 years, right? Peter Vermes from Sporting Kansas City, my club.
You want some guys. you want a guy that has a track record.
Bruce Arena, even though he failed to qualify last time, Omar Gonzalez is the starting center back. And now we have Champions League players in almost every position.
Right.
Bruce Arena would run circles around CONCACAF with this team. Look what he's doing with the Revolution.
See,
They're the best team in MLS.
The reason why I would never, I don't think, go back to a Bruce Arena, back to like an MLS-y type of coach, is because of what Gregg Berhalter has done with this program. In 2017, because I remember where I was on October 10th of 2017.
Me too. We were in the same place.
I remember the room that we were sitting in when the United States failed to qualify for a World Cup.
Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was. And I think that since then, I'm going to give so much credit to Gregg Berhalter, because now we are not overconfident. As a fan base, we're not overconfident, we're reserved, but we're upholding our team's standards, and we're saying, look, with this talent that we have, we need to qualify for this World Cup. I think that that's an emotion change that came with Gregg Berhalter. I think that he is very responsible in the face, the image of our national crest. I think that he has responsibility in the fact that we have a player who starts on Barcelona, the fact that we have a player who post-lockdown was one of the best wingers in the Prem, in Christian Pulisic. I think that we have a lot of players in Europe and a huge program movement going on right now, and I stick that to Berhalter. Like, I stick that to the emotional change and the motive change that he brought when he took over.
The other thing that I would say on that as well, when it comes to coaching and tactics and things like that, personally, when I think of MLS coaches, and I think that there's a way to play in the MLS that is successful, and I think it would work in CONCACAF. I don't think it would work when you get to the World Cup.
Oh, no.
And you're playing, England, Italy, or those types of teams. So I think that Berhalter it's kind of even counterintuitive to say that maybe he's not playing to the type of football that he needs to be playing. If that makes sense, you always say CONCACAF ball, right? So he needs to maybe pull it back a little bit for CONCACAF and save the pet masterclasses for when we're actually playing in the World Cup.
But you don't even need the pet masterclasses in the World Cup. We're in CONCACAF. We're better than every other team in CONCACAF. We've proved it. And I think we've proved that in spite of Berhalter. I think he's inept. He doesn't know what he's doing. And when you're in CONCACAF and you're playing against teams better than you, his defensive, pessimistic style is so bad. We shouldn't be lucking our way into 1-0 wins. That's for the World Cup. When we get put in a group of like Italy and some other good European team and like a really good African team, when we're in the group of death like we always are,
Right.
That's when you sit back and you play your super defensive formation and you luck your way into a 1-0 win.
Right.
That's when you do that, not against El Salvador.
I agree. I think that part of what he's doing. No, because I agree what you're saying. Like, what are we gonna do when we have a group of Belgium, Uruguay, the United States, and then another team who's probably better than us or evenly matched? What are we gonna do when we have to make it out of a World Cup group? So I think that maybe, like you said, what he's doing is maybe prepping this team for ball outside of CONCACAF. But I think at the same time, like, what he needs to be focused on right now is one, getting out of CONCACAF.
Right.
That's what we have to do before we go to the World Cup. Is we
Right.
have to make it out of CONCACAF, and that's something that he needs to be working on right now. And I think the biggest thing that he should be working on right now is cohesion, which it looks like we have no cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
Like against Canada, oh my God! Like, what are you gonna say? Like Alphonso Davies should beat our team? Like he's not. We have 11 guys on the field as well. So I get that Alphonso Davies is a good baller. I get that he's the best left wing back in the world. But we have 11 guys on the field as well.
Who does Canada have to deal with Christian Pulisic?
Exactly.
Who do they have to deal with Gio Reyna? Nobody.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you match us up with Canada, pound for pound,
We're better.
We're better.
We're better.
We should be better.
Yeah.
Right.
So I get that Alphonso Davies is on the field, but if we go out there into that game and we play with an energy and a cohesion that we showed in the last 15 minutes of the Honduras game, we smack Canada.
Yeah.
We just do it.
Right. Okay. So getting on from that, we talked a lot about tactics and things like that. So going forward, the next games that we'll see in about a month or so, right?
October.
Okay, so what, I want to get both of your guys' opinions on this. So what, Tommy can go first, and then I want to hear from Cole. What is your lineup for this next game?
So
Or what would you like to see?
it depends on who we're playing. If I remember correctly, it's Costa Rica, Panama, and Jamaica. And I think Jamaica's at home,
We have Jamaica first at home.
and the other ones are away. So Jamaica at home, Jamaica's looked bad. I think it depends on the team. Jamaica has not looked good, and that's kind of because the Premier League has kind of dumb rules. I
Right.
think their COVID thing is really dumb. That's a whole different thing. So this is how I line up. I think Matt Turner has earned that #1 job. I think his Gold Cup performances were great. He bailed us out of a couple games in the last camp. You put Dest on the right. Dest does not belong on the left. He's bad on the left. We all know Dest can't play defense. Put him on the right. Let him work. Center backs, I'd like to see Chris Richards get a chance. He plays for Hoffenheim now. He's been with Bayern, but he hasn't gotten any time. Miles Robinson, I think, has been one of the big highlights of the last camp and the
I
World
like him a
Cup.
lot.
Left back Anthony Robinson, we give him 45 minutes and he completely turns the tide against Honduras.
Right.
Then I think I would do the 4-3-3 that he always plays, 3 in the midfield. Adams at CDM. Adams not a right back. Gregg Berhalter, buddy.
The Poughkeepsie Pirlo does work.
If Gio Reyna's healthy, I want him in the midfield. Gio Reyna plays midfield for Dortmund. He's a creative player, one of the only creative players we have. So put him in the midfield. I don't know what's up with McKennie. I mean, what he did is obviously not like this super awful thing. It's like, you just kind of know better. Like, you're a professional, you need to know better.
Right.
I'm not ready to give up on that. I think McKennie is one of our better 8s. But legit impressed me in that Honduras game.
Sebi is not too bad.
They love the boy. I kind of love the boy, if we're being honest.
He was playing like it was a friendly out there.
Yeah. All we got to do is tell legit it's a friendly.
Exactly.
So I'll throw McKennie in there, and then my front 3, obviously, if Pulley is healthy, we play him. Tim Weah, if he's healthy, I think I want to see him on the right. Maybe Brendan Aaronson. I think Aaronson played really well against Honduras. I want Ricardo Pepi up front. I'm on the Pepi train. Ricardo Pepi. I want Pepi up front.
He's good.
A lot of the younger, I mean, I say younger, but they're all like 12 years old.
Yeah.
But some of the 9-year-olds, I guess, have been impressing. Aaronson and then Miles Robinson, like you said, I love watching him. He's so good. So I like that. What would you say? Is there any discrepancies?
No, really, there's no discrepancies. I think that players that I need to see in and around the starting 11, for sure, Brendan Aaronson. I'd be okay playing him in the midfield if Reyna isn't healthy, or Pulisic he has a problem with his left ankle now, which I think that he'll be healthy by the time the next camp runs around. But whether or not he's in form, whether or not he gets minutes in Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, is something that remains to be seen. So if he's not in form and or healthy, Brendan Aaronson, put him on the left, let him just do whatever he wants.
Best thing about the U.S. right now is someone gets hurt, we got another random 18-year-old from the FC Dallas Academy to step in. Conrad came completely out of nowhere.
No,
he's a baller. He's a
baller. The Marseille man came into that first game, and I was upset that he didn't get something to show for his effort in that first game. But Conrad was easily our best player in that first game. Easily our most creative. While we were spending time passing around the Salvadorian low block, Conrad ran right at the defense, and he created our best chances of the game, like easily. So Conrad is another player who I'd love to see around the starting 11. I think up top, I still give the nod to Josh Sargent.
I was just about to ask.
We'll see how he does in the Prem, because he has a month in the Premier League before we come back to this next camp. For me, Josh is a kind of a representation of Berhalter's whack tactics. Like, he doesn't really find himself in scoring position. He's kind of just like a run around. He has a lot of gravity. He creates a lot of chaos for a back line. And I think that because of the type of players that we have, like our 5'9", Brendan Aaronson, Christian Pulisic, like the type of like pacey dribblers, technical players that we have, I think that it's good to mix it up with a Banff who, like Josh Sargent, kind of just
he's got a bit beefier after coming to the Premier League.
Well, actually, it might have been the Bundesliga over there.
True.
But
he was throwing dudes around.
He was.
Yeah.
I think that it's something good for us. Like, I don't know how much he's going to be the guy like Ricard Bitch who like finds a goal when we need it.
Right.
But I think to start games, I like having Josh Sargent in there. I think it's something good for us.
Tires out of backline a bit for some players to
absolutely.
come in later. It's not a bad way to look at it. Another two things I wanted to ask you guys about. So you brought up McKennie earlier, and I kind of see him and Pulisic as not problem players, but players that have problems. Pulisic, as he is easily the most talented, I think the most talented United States player I've ever seen.
By far. And he was when he was 17.
Right, exactly. And I think that McKennie is also a very talented, good player, brings a lot of energy. But Pulisic, he's had a lot of injury issues, and I don't know. Do you guys see him? Are you worried about that? I'm a little worried that we might see him just not reach the heights that I think he can reach because he just keeps picking up injuries. And I'd like to see him protect himself a little bit more, but if he does that, then he's not playing his heart out, and I don't know. That's kind of how I'm seeing it.
This will be a hot take, I think, but I think that Pulisic needs to leave Chelsea, and I think he needs to leave Chelsea fast.
I agree.
Fast.
I agree.
Like before this next World Cup. The way it's looking now, Chelsea look like they have the deepest squad in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best starting 11, because obviously PSG, but
they have two world-class 11-man teams.
I think that Chelsea have two squads that could challenge for the Premier League title.
Right.
And Pulisic is in the second one if he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a knock on him because, like you said, I think he's the most talented player that the United States has ever seen. I'll put him, talent-wise, I'll put him ahead of Dempsey. Like, I'll put him ahead of our legends.
I'll do you one further. I think he's the most talented player at Chelsea.
That's a hot take.
No, if he's healthy and he can play every game, even if he's a super sub, that 30 minutes that Pulisic is on, it's different.
I would say, yeah, he plays different than a lot of players at Chelsea. You have, Timo Werner can't hit the broadside of the barn yet.
Yeah.
Sorry, Timo. But, I know you're watching. But, and then you have, I think Havertz is also pretty talented.
Havertz is pretty Havertz is generational. But the thing
He's
about
pretty good.
Pulisic that makes him play different is people don't. It's like you look at him take his first couple touches of a game when he comes in, and you're like, okay, we know what's up there. And then he just hits you with like a couple croquettes in a row, and then he's in on goal, and of course he misses his first shot. But it's like the guy kind of is nuts the way he dribbles, like his close ball control. Like I'll give him Messi.
I was just about to say the same thing. We're doing hot takes, so I was gonna say. Clearly he's not Messi.
No.
But for the United States,
Yeah,
he's Messi,
he's
basically.
Messi.
Yeah.
Right, and the way he is on the ball, it's incredible to watch. I love watching him play, but he picks up so many injuries, and I'm just worried about him. It's interesting you say leave Chelsea. Do you say that because he's not getting enough minutes, or?
I say that because he's not getting enough minutes, and for where he's at in his career, I don't know if his body is suited for Premier League football. I think that he is maybe a bit too light for Premier League football. And it's like, well, I don't want him to put on weight because then he'll lose speed and agility if it happens. But it's like, I think that Spanish football would really reward him. Like I can see him playing for a top 3 Spanish club, like maybe Atletico Madrid if they got rid of some of their wingers. Like I could see him having very rewarding football in another league. I don't know if that's something he does right now. For me, I would love to see him leave Chelsea and leave England. But
if you think about it, he kind of, when he's at Dortmund, you just grow and grow and grow. That's what's happening to Reina right now. I think, I got another Pulisic-related hot take. I think Reina not only is better than him right now, I think Reina is going to be a top world-class player.
You think Brenda's ceiling is higher than
I think
Pulisic?
Brenda's ceiling is way higher than Pulisic.
What I'm worried about is that we've seen the best of Pulisic. That's what I'm worried about.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
which is so unfortunate because I believe in Pulisic. I think that he can be, for at least the United States, and I mean even the Premier League, he could be a generational type player. He could be an amazing player, but it's just I feel like he's like an almost player, if that makes sense. He's almost there. There's just something that holds him back, whether it's injuries, whether it's playing time, whether it's Tuchel, Chelsea, whatever you want to say. There's something there that he needs to overcome, and I pray, I hope that he does. I want him to so bad. Come to Arsenal. But anyways, that's how I feel about Pulisic, and I want the best for him, and I want to see the best from him. But I don't know. What do you think on?
I mean, obviously, yeah. I want him to succeed. He's the best talent the United States has ever had by a long shot. We've always had players that rely on physicality to win. The Dempseys of the world, right? The Tim Howards, just super imposing presence. Pulisic is not that. Pulisic is a dribbler. He's like Messi. He's a small dude.
he's so technical.
He just weaves through people effortlessly.
He has great vision, like something that we don't have from anybody else, maybe besides Brendan Aaronson right now, and even Gio Reyna's not here yet. I don't think is.
He's a kid.
Pulisic drives through 5 defenders and then lays the ball off.
Mm-hmm.
What? Like, we do not have that from anybody else right now.
Right.
Maybe Brendan Aaronson, but Brendan Aaronson doesn't go through 5 guys before he lays the ball off. The vision that Pulisic has when he's driving through defenses is something we don't have from anywhere else. It's something that we've never had before. Dempsey, Donovan, I don't care who you throw in there.
Yeah.
Josie Altidore, the fact that Josie, look, I love Josie, Toronto legend, Sunderland legend. Like, the guy he's a great guy as well, but the fact that Josie was our option, was our it guy up top in 2017, what? Like, look at where we are now.
Right.
Something else that I'm going to get into right now is how important I think it is for Pulisic and Weston McKennie moving forward is right now those guys, and maybe Tyler Adams, that's the face of our organization.
Right.
Which is why I'm disappointed in Weston. But mistakes happen. Like, it's not something that it's not something we should crucify him for. Mistakes happen. What we need to hold Weston to now is getting back into the national team, playing his socks off at Juve, showing Gregg Berhalter and the rest of the team that he let down, look, I'm here to play. I want to contribute to the squad. I want to take us to a World Cup. That's what he needs to do now.
Right. Do you want to see him back in about a month from now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I want to
right.
see him back in this day.
I would agree. So
He didn't hurt anybody. He didn't pull like a Charlie Davis, like get into a massive car accident. Like, he broke the COVID protocol, which is less about breaking the COVID protocol and more about breaking the team's rules. He was getting paid, he was getting put up with the team. He got to represent our country, and he broke the rules.
Yeah.
But it's like, he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't hurt himself. Like, I think that it would be a huge mistake
to not bring
him and to put him out. It would be a mistake on our behalf because we'd be exiling a player for something that really is not that important. And it'd be a mistake in his career because this is him getting in on the ground floor and helping his nation qualify for a World Cup for the first time in over 4 years.
Right.
So, I'm going to go on the record and say that if Berhalter and the organization don't pull Weston McKennie back, if he plays well and if he deserves it, it would be a massive mistake. It would be a massive mistake on our behalf.
I would agree. He brings a lot of energy to that midfield. I think Tyler Adams is kind of our rock in that midfield, and I think that Gio Reyna, like you were saying earlier, is the creativity, but Weston is just he's like a Wijnaldum type.
Yeah.
He's our most dangerous player on set pieces by far, and set pieces is where we get our goals because Gregg Berhalter doesn't score an open play because of his stupid tactics.
Our most dangerous player on set piece? What about Kellen CONCACAF Acosta?
Well, he's the one taking the set.
No, Weston is great. Weston is great in the air. He presses, like you said, he brings in energy. Like, Weston, I think, is our best number 8, and the way that we are going to hopefully be playing in that 4-3-3, I think it's really going to be up to Tyler Adams to do the brunt of the defensive work. And I think that what's going to be important for Tyler Adams' health and energy is having Weston McKennie as a press breaking object to help him in, because they kind of shift into a midfield pivot once we get deep into games, and whoever the other midfielder is tends to go up.
And then when Tyler Adams gets that help, that makes John Brooks' job easier because he's slow.
Oh yeah. I didn't realize how slow John Brooks was going to be in this camp. I remember him being agile. I remember him being a pacey, like aggressive center back. The guy was slow, and on top of that, he was ball watching. So we don't even have to go into all the John Brooks situation, but
we need Wolfsburg John Brooks.
Yeah, we'll put in a transfer request. We'll figure out if we can buy John Brooks or not.
Oh man. All right. Well, if you guys have said your piece, I think it's time to get into Hayden's question.
Berhalter in 100%.
Berhalter out. He's not the man to lead us.
He's absolutely the man to lead us.
I hope both teams have fun. But
so now we're gonna say thanks again for Hayden sponsoring the video. That's massive, lad. We really appreciate the support. Hayden's question for the guys here today. Hayden's asked, Messi or Ronaldo, and elaborate on which one and why.
I'm assuming this probably comes up. We aren't in 2017, right?
No,
Okay,
we're not.
as far as I know.
2017.
But I think this probably has come up because both of them have changed teams recently, so it's kind of stirred the pot a little bit in the footballing world. I've said it once, I'll say it again, I'll say it 1,000 times. Messi is the best player of all time. There's no argument I will hear about it, because I mean, Ronaldo might be one of the best goal scorers of all time, but all around player, Messi any day. Messi puts Ronaldo in the mud.
I forget who it was. I think it might be Gerard Piqué. Maybe it was someone else, but he said Ronaldo is the greatest human to ever play the game, and Messi's not human.
That's a good way of putting it. So y'all are both Messi. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my piece I'll say on it. I'm also 100% Messi is the greatest player to ever play the game. He is. Messi is the most complete and the greatest player to ever play the game. Let's not make the mistake of letting recency bias tell us that Messi doesn't do anything defensively, because for the longest time in his career, he was an active member of the Barcelona world beater XI. So I think that recency bias has kind of gotten in the way of Messi's like completeness as a player, but Messi is the most complete player in the history of the game. Now, out and out clutch, I need a goal right. I need to buy a goal right now. I think you have to give the nod to Ronaldo. I think that dude finds himself in the right position.
Yeah. He's a 90+6 merchant.
He's a 90+6. Maybe that's the Portuguese.
Yeah.
It's like he's a 90+6 merchant, and there is something to be said for his physicality, for his stature, for his like his just prowess on a pitch, and like it's kind of something that's grown into like a legend now. Like he just made his debut back at United. The dude's back to brace in the most difficult league in the world, albeit he was playing Newcastle. But the guy backed a brace,
Right.
And both of his goals, you would say he found himself in the right place at the right time.
He does that.
He does that. Like I don't think that there's anybody in the history of the game who does that like Ronaldo.
No. I would agree with you 100%. I think that Ronaldo is the best out-and-out goal scorer of all time. I think that my man he just scores. He wills himself to score, and I think that that's the biggest distinction between the two people. Like you were saying earlier, Ronaldo is basically the epitome of hard work and dedication to a craft. Messi is just God-given talent.
Yeah.
He is just it's like you said, he's not human.
He's not
The
human.
way that he moves on the ball, the way that he controls the game, the way that he sees the game, no one has ever seen it like that. Maybe Cruyff. But Messi is in a different league when it comes to that. But as far as goal scoring goes and as far as clutch goes, you could give the nod to Ronaldo, but any day of the week. I think Ronaldo will get himself goals and will get the team goals. I think that Messi makes everybody around him look 10 times better than they actually are.
Yeah,
I agree. Something that I also will give the nod to Ronaldo for, because this is, for me, this is interesting because I'm kind of at the point where I'm finding things to give Ronaldo the nod for. Like, it's like, in my head, I understand that Messi is the best player that will ever play. That's a big shout. I think that Messi is the best player who will ever play the game.
yeah.
But another thing that I give Ronaldo a shout for is the guy's mentality. If United win the league this year, I don't think it's anybody's take of Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo coming to that locker room and lifting those guys up, and if they win the Premier League this year, I think that it will be Ronaldo. I think that it will be a Ronaldo-esque victory. And I think another thing that is going to be interesting, which I don't think any of us might have seen this coming before these two transfers, but I think that the next Ballon d'Or will actually go to Messi or Ronaldo, which is weird because I think we kind of thought that era was over. So I don't know if that's an interesting shout or not, or what.
You've forgotten about Basuma.
You've forgotten about Jackson Ewell.
Jackson Ewell to have the world.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying.
I think that the next, if these two lads have the seasons that I think that they could have, I think that I could totally see the next Ballon d'Or going back to the Messi Ronaldo era, which would be kind of nuts, honestly, because it felt like that chapter was closed. Yeah. But look at these guys lighting up the world in their 30s. Good for them. I hope we answered the question. Hayden, let us know. But
I got a follow-up question.
You got a follow-up question?
When both of them go to the MLS, which teams will they play for?
Do you know?
Go ahead.
All right,
you
well,
go first.
Leo Messi has Houston Dynamo written. He has Houston Dynamo written all over him, down to a T.
He's not Honduran.
Whoa. We don't just take Honduranians. We're done with the Honduranians. We're getting them out of the club. Sorry, Honduranians, but Boniek has got to go. The Dynamo won their first game in 113 days yesterday. Did y'all know that?
Yes, against Austin FC.
Austin had a rough day yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
City of Austin
Losing to can you imagine losing to the Houston Dynamo?
No.
Here's what I'll say. Realistically, I don't think that either one of them will play in the MLS, but if they do, I think that Ronaldo would play for Inter Miami, and I think that Messi would probably play for LA Galaxy or LAFC.
I definitely think that you're right if they come to the MLS. I think Ronaldo would play for Inter Miami. I don't know. I think Messi would go somewhere. I don't think he'd go to LA.
I'd switch it. I think Messi plays for Miami and Ronaldo plays for LA.
I think the Beckham connection would get Ronaldo to
That's
Miami.
what I was thinking as well.
But I think that would speak to him going to Inter Miami. But I do think that you're right. I think that you want to go play for Real Madrid, but in California.
Ronaldo has put on the record that Peter Vermees is his favorite manager, and he loves barbecue.
Oh my
I think Ronaldo comes to Sporting.
Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, I could totally see Ronaldo cutting it up in case.
You can fact check that. He said that.
Yeah, he did say that.
He did say that. No, but I think that Ronaldo doesn't pass up the opportunity to reunite with former teammate and World Cup winner Blessure Matuidi.
Of course.
I don't think he passes up the opportunity to play with the best midfielder who's ever graced the game. And, what are you laughing for?
Well, then he would be playing for San Jose, so he could play with Jackson Ewell.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to pass up the opportunity to play with Mr. Clutch himself, Chris Wondolowski, the man himself.
That is true. That is true. I think that Messi would go somewhere like New York FC. Yeah, somewhere in and around there.
Yeah, he's got City written all over him.
We thought.
Yeah, we did.
We did think.
I feel like Messi probably retires in Argentina, right?
Yeah,
I think he probably goes back to Argentina.
I hope he.
I would like him to come to the MLS, but
I want him to selfishly come to the MLS just so it's easier for me to go watch him play. But personally, we'll never see it now. But man, I wanted him to retire at Barcelona.
Yeah.
They might pull an Henry, sign him.
Yeah, I actually think realistically that will probably be the most realistic thing to happen. He'll either go to Argentina or he'll sign for Barcelona for a day, and then everyone will let him score. He will score.
Yeah, he'll score. They're not going to let him.
He'll score.
He'll score.
And then we'll clap him off the pitch one last time.
Absolutely, as it was deserved. But yeah, Messi is definitely the best player who has ever graced the game. Ronaldo is the best human who has ever played the game.
Right.
That's what I'll say.
I would agree with that. And I mean, it's not 2017 anymore. Respect both of them, even though I definitely like Messi more. But respect them both.
Yeah.
I think they're the two best players that have ever played, and it's not close.
No, there's
It's not
definitely
close.
a gap. You're right. They're a level above everybody else in both talent, form, prowess, and mentality.
Goals stolen by Pele.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It goes Messi, Ronaldo, and then down a little bit, Olivier Giroud.
Yes.
Yes, these two lads have added more goals to Pele's goal tally than anybody else ever will in the 100 years of the game. So,
Us talking about a goal right now, Pele's just added that. All right. But anyways, guys, thanks for listening. It's been another great episode. Tommy, thanks so much for coming out.
Thanks
We
for
always
having me.
love
Love to
having
be
you around.
on.
This dude's a club legend.
that's
Club
a
legend
right there.
But anyways, don't forget to hit us up on TikTok. Make sure you go check us out there. We got content coming out pretty frequently, I'd say. And we'd love to hear from you guys, so let us know.
Thanks so much. Thanks again, Hayden, and thank you guys for listening.